My husband went to the bank every Tuesday for 38 years. When he died, I finally learned why, and the truth left me frozen. What I found in that safety deposit box destroyed everything I thought our marriage was built on. Every document felt like a lie. Every signature had been forged, and the letter he left behind changed my life forever. Before I continue, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. We love seeing how far our stories travel. Every Tuesday was the same for decades of marriage. My husband, Thaddeus, left the house at exactly 2 p.m. every Tuesday. Rain, shine, heat, cold, it didn't matter. He'd grab his car keys, fix his tie in the hallway mirror, kiss my forehead, and say the same thing every time. I'm heading to the bank to take care of some business, sugar. I'll be back soon, and I never questioned it. Why would I? Thaddeus was a civil engineer, organized, precise, steady. Our bills were always paid. We never had debt collectors calling or late fees piling up. He handled the finances, and he loved reminding me, relax, Eulalia. I'll deal with the boring money stuff. You take care of the house and the kids. It felt like a fair division of responsibility. I trusted him the way you trust the sun will rise tomorrow. We were a team. Or at least I thought so. This was the man who held my hand during both births, the man who cried with me when my mother died, the man who danced with me at our son's graduation and our daughter's wedding. Why would I suspect anything? The last Tuesday, as final Tuesday, looked just like all the others. It was a warm March afternoon in Philadelphia. He left at 2 p.m. sharp. I kissed him, fixed his collar, and told him to drive safely. He smiled, my husband of nearly 40 years, and said, "Always do, my love." I went to Reading Terminal Market for groceries. While I picked out oranges, my phone rang. It was our oldest son, Langston. His voice sounded tight and strangely controlled. "Mama, you need to come to the hospital now." My heart sank. What happened? Is it Zaid? The grandkids? No. It's Pop. He collapsed at the office. Please hurry. I abandoned the cart and ran. My hands shook so badly I could hardly start the car. When I got to the hospital, I saw Langston in the hallway. I knew the truth before he even spoke. His face said everything. "Mama, I'm so sorry. Pop didn't make it." Just like that, my husband, healthy, active, only 59, was gone. A massive heart attack struck him at work, and by the time the ambulance arrived, it was too late. Everyone expected me to cry, but I didn't. People blamed shock, but it wasn't shock. It was something colder, something I didn't want to admit, a small, frightening sense of freedom, and that terrified me more than his death. The funeral was crowded. Co-workers, fraternity brothers, neighbors, everyone repeated the same words: honest, dedicated, hard-working, admirable. I listened as if they were talking about a stranger. Not because they were lying, but because I was slowly realizing that maybe I had never known the man I married at all. Our daughter, Zaid, cried through the entire service. Langston held himself together, but tears slipped out when the casket closed. I accepted hugs, flowers, casseroles, and empty condolences inside. There was nothing, just a strange, hollow space. The letter from the bank days later. A white envelope arrived. My name printed neatly on the front. Inside was a letter from Union Trust Bank. I was listed as a co-holder of a safety deposit box. Box number 1847, paid through December. I stared at the paper. A safety deposit box. What box? In nearly 4 decades of marriage, Thaddeus had never mentioned one. Not once. I called the bank immediately. Everything was confirmed. Yes, the box existed. Yes, my name was on it. Yes, I could access it. Wednesday at 10 a.m. Those 48 hours felt endless. I wandered the house searching for clues. Everything looked ordinary: perfectly labeled folders, neatly arranged documents. His handwriting everywhere. He had always been organized. painfully organized, and yet something felt wrong. Like I'd walked into a room someone else had already searched through. Langston's discovery Tuesday night. Langston came over with a heavy folder. "Mama, we need to talk." He laid out bank statements and paperwork I had never seen. The numbers made no sense. "Mama, your joint account? The one you've had for decades? There's barely $1,200 left." I felt the world tilt. "That's impossible," I whispered. "There was always money in that account." "There's more," he said. "The emergency savings account gone. Closed 6 months earlier. The retirement fund missing. No records anywhere. It was as if our financial life had vanished into thin air. That night I lay awake on the empty side of the bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about all those Tuesdays. What was he really doing at the bank? Why did he always come home tense? Why didn't I ever question him? The box Wednesday morning arrived cold, grey, heavy. I dressed like I was going to war. I didn't let Langston come with me. Whatever I was about to discover, I needed to face it alone. The bank manager escorted me to the vault. Hundreds of small metal doors lined the walls, each one holding someone's secrets. Box 1847. The manager unlocked it with 2 keys and left me alone in a small private room. I opened the box. Inside were several folders, neatly labeled in my husband's careful handwriting. The first one read, "Real investments. Do not open." I opened it anyway. What I saw made my stomach drop. Pages and pages of failed investments. Secret accounts, massive. Losses $85,000 gone, $120,000 gone, $210,000 gone, hundreds of thousands of dollars disappeared. The loans. Next folder was worse. 3 loans. All secured by our house. 11 quadrillion, 12 billion, $90,000 total, $320,000. My hands shook. He had put our home at risk. And I had no idea. The credit cards. Then came the folder that shattered me completely. Credit cards, 15 of them. All in my name, using my social security number, signed with my forged signature. Every card maxed out, every account buried in interest. Total debt, $110,000. My own husband had stolen my identity. The letter at the bottom of the box was a cream-colored envelope with my name written in Thaddeus's handwriting. A letter. He confessed everything. The failed business investment. The $450,000 lost. The panic. The loans. The credit cards. The forged signatures. The Tuesdays spent begging the bank for more time. He ended with, "I loved you every day of these 38 years. But my love wasn't enough to protect you from myself. I'm sorry for everything. Please take care of the children. Tell them their father was weak, a coward, but that he loved them. Thaddeus." I folded the letter slowly. My hands were trembling, but I forced myself to stay calm. I slipped the note back into the envelope, placed every document neatly inside the box, and closed it with care. When I stood up, my legs shook beneath me. But I refused to fall. Not here. Not now. I walked out with my head held high. The manager was waiting outside, worry written all over her face. "Mrs. Vance, are you all right?" I met her eyes. "No, but I will be. I need copies of everything in that box. Every page. And I need the name of a good lawyer, the best one you know." Her expression changed instantly. She understood exactly what I had discovered. She had probably seen situations like this before. Lives destroyed inside quiet, locked drawers no one ever questions. "I'll make the copies myself," she said softly. "And I know an excellent attorney. Althea Dubois, family law and financial fraud. I can call her now if you'd like." "Yes, please." While she worked, I sat alone in the lobby, watching people walk in and out as if nothing in the world was wrong. But my world had collapsed in a matter of minutes. Everything I believed, everything I trusted, had been built on lies. And the man I loved for 38 years was someone I didn't even know. When I got home, it was after 2. Langston's car was in the driveway. He must have been waiting for hours. I stepped inside and found him pacing the living room, his phone in his hand. The moment he saw me, he rushed over. "Mama, where were you? You weren't answering." "I'm fine, son." Or, "I will be." But things aren't okay. He noticed the thick folder in my hand. "What's that?" "Sit down," I said. "And call your sister. She needs to hear this too." Langston called Zadai, and she arrived 30 minutes later. Her eyes were swollen from crying since the funeral. Losing her father had already broken her heart, and what I was about to tell her would break it even more. We sat at the kitchen table. The same table that had seen birthday cakes, Christmas dinners, Sunday breakfasts. Now it would witness the truth that would change everything. I opened the folder and laid the documents out one by one. "This is what your father kept hidden in his safety deposit box." 4 years, maybe decades, Langston picked up the first paper, the failed investments. I watched the color drain from his face as he read. Zadai leaned closer, confused at first, then horrified. "$450,000? Langston whispered. "Pop lost $450,000. "No," I said. "He threw it away on risky deals behind my back." I showed them the loans next. "He used the house as collateral. 3 times $320,000. Zadai's lips trembled. No, Daddy wouldn't do that. There has to be some mistake." "There isn't." I placed the credit card statements down. My name on every one. 15 accounts. $110,000, all opened with forged signatures. Langston stared, pale. "Mama, this is a crime. This is identity theft." "I know," I whispered. "But I don't know why." Then I handed them the letter. "Read this." Langston read it aloud. Every word broke something inside all of us. When he finished, silence settled like heavy air. "Mama," he said finally, voice tight, "this is awful. The house, your credit, your savings. Everything is gone." "I know. How are you so calm?" I looked at my children who woke up that morning believing their father was a good man, because falling apart won't fix anything. "I need a plan. And I need your help." Zadai shook her head, crying. "This can't be real." "Daddy was. He was always trustworthy." I said softly. "I thought so too. But this is the truth. And the truth is the only thing that can save us now." That night, I couldn't sleep. I replayed the last few years in my head, every argument about money, every time he brushed off my questions, every tense Tuesday afternoon. The signs were there. I just didn't want to see them. The next morning, Zadai showed up at 7 a.m., storming through the door in tears. "Mama, we can't do this." "Do what?" "Destroy Daddy's memory. Sue Banks. Say he committed crimes." "We can't." I took a deep breath. I'm not taking on $500,000 of debt to protect a lie, but he was our father, and he stole from me. "Both things can be true." She cried harder. "People will talk. They'll judge us." "They will," I said. "But I'd rather people know the truth than watch my life burn because of secrets." She slammed the door on her way out. Langston called an hour later. "Mama, give her time. She'll understand." I wasn't so sure. The following Monday, I met attorney Althea Dubois, a sharp, confident woman with eyes that didn't miss anything. I told her everything from start to finish. When I finished, she said plainly, "Mrs. Vance, this is one of the worst cases of spousal financial abuse I've seen." The word hit me hard. Abuse. "Your husband didn't just mishandle money," she continued. "He deliberately destroyed your financial security. This is fraud. This is identity theft. This is criminal." "But he's gone," I whispered. "So what can we do?" "We can prove you had no part in this. We can challenge every debt. We may even be able to save your home." But she paused. "It will be long, difficult, and expensive." "How much?" My fee is $30,000. Total costs around $45,000. I thought of my empty savings. I don't have that, I figured, she said. Pay me $5,000 to start. We'll build a plan for the rest. That night, I told Langston, Mama, he said quietly, I have $15,000 saved. It was for the house renovation. But I'll help you. I can't take that, I'm not asking. You're my mother, and Pop did this to you. I'm going to help. I cried for the first time since Thaddeus died. Not from grief, but gratitude. Zadai still didn't speak to me. She sent only one email. Mama, I need space. I can't handle the way you're destroying Daddy's memory. I had lost my husband. And now, in a different way, I was losing my daughter. The investigation beckon Satani Dubois worked fast. She disputed every credit card, contacted every bank, filed reports with all 3 credit bureaus. We hired a handwriting expert, a retired FBI examiner who studied every signature. These are not yours, Mrs. Vance, he said. Whoever did this practiced your writing many times. Every confirmation was another cut. Langston became my partner in the battle. He sorted files, built spreadsheets, created timelines, attended meetings. One night, he sat across from me, his face uneasy. Mama, I need to tell you something. My stomach tightened. What is it? 3 years ago, Pop asked me to invest $50,000 with him. My heart dropped. Please tell me you didn't. I almost did. But Karen stopped me. She said if it was such a great deal, why didn't Pop use his own money? We fought about it. I was furious with her. But she didn't give in. And now I'm glad she didn't. He looked devastated. I think he was already drowning. Mama, and if I had said yes, we would have drowned too. I reached across the table and squeezed his hand. You didn't invest. And that means something. It means you were already protecting your family, even when you didn't know it. First wins, and more losses 3 months after Thaddeus died. To credit card companies removed the fraudulent charges. $23,000 erased. It wasn't much compared to everything we were fighting, but it proved we could win. Still, Zadai remained silent. And that silence hurt more than any debt. Preparing for courthouse loans were the hardest part. The bank insisted I benefited simply by being married to him. Attorney Dubois fought fiercely. She never saw a single dollar of those loans. They were spent by her husband alone, but the bank pushed back. And the case was headed to court. The hearing was set for September, 6 long months after his death, starting over at 60 while preparing for court. I did something I never thought I'd do again, look for work. At age 60, with an empty savings account, I was starting over from nothing. A language institute called me for an interview. The owner, a 70-year-old woman with white hair and red glasses, looked at me kindly. So, Leia, she asked, why return to work now? I could have lied, but I was done with lies. So I told her the truth. She listened quietly, then set my resume down and said, when can you start? I began teaching again the next week. 3 days a week. The pay was small, but it gave me something priceless, purpose. I liked teaching. I liked watching students finally understand something they struggled with. I liked feeling useful again. One afternoon, while shelving books, the owner told me her own story, a marriage full of hidden betrayals. She finally escaped, and she said something I never forgot. The people who tell you to try harder are usually the ones who never had to fight for their life. Her words stayed with me because that's exactly what I was doing now. Fighting for my life. I slowly folded the letter, put it back in the envelope, and placed every document neatly inside the safety deposit box. My legs were shaking, but I refused to fall. Not there. Not now. When I walked out, the bank manager was waiting with a worried expression. Are you okay, Mrs. Vance? No, I said honestly. But I will be. I need copies of everything that was in that box. And I need the name of a very good lawyer. The best you know, she nodded immediately. She understood exactly what this meant. I'll make the copies myself, she said. And there's an excellent attorney, Althea Dubois. She specializes in family law and financial fraud. I can contact her if you want. Yes, I said. Please do. While she made the copies, I sat in the lobby watching people come and go, talking, laughing, living normal lives. Meanwhile, mine had just fallen apart. Everything I thought I knew about my husband, our marriage, our future, it was all gone. By the time I got home, it was after 2 p.m. Langston's car was already in the driveway. He must have been waiting for hours. He rushed toward me the moment I stepped inside. Mama, I was worried. You didn't answer your phone. Everything's fine, I said softly. Or, it's not. But I'll survive. He looked at the thick folder in my hand. What's that? Sit down, I said. I need to show you something. And call your sister. She needs to hear this too. He called Zadai, and she arrived within half an hour, her eyes still red from crying since the funeral. Losing her father had shattered her. What I was about to say would break her even more. We sat at the kitchen table, the same table where we had celebrated so many family moments. Now it would be the place where their father's truth came to light. I opened the folder and laid the documents out one by one. This, I said quietly, is what your father was hiding. 4 years, maybe decades. I don't know. Langston picked up the first paper, failed investments. His face slowly drained of color. Zadai leaned over his shoulder, confused at first, then horrified. $450,000. Langston whispered. Pop lost $450,000. No, I corrected him. He threw it away. On risky investments. Without telling me. Next, I showed them the loans, 3 separate ones. Each one using our house as collateral. Total debt, $320,000. Zadai shook her head, crying. No, Daddy wouldn't do that. There has to be some mistake. I placed the credit card statements in front of them, 15 accounts. All in my name, all with forged signatures, $110,000, Langston said. Barely breathing. Mama. This is identity theft. I know, I said. Why would he do this? He asked. I handed them the letter. Read it. Langston read it out loud, his voice breaking with each sentence. By the time he finished, the room was silent, heavy, and painful. Mama, he finally said, your house, your credit, your savings. Everything he touched is ruined. I know, I said. But getting angry won't solve anything. I need a plan. I need to fight. And I need you to help me. Zadai shook her head. I can't believe it. Daddy was always so reliable. I finished for her. So honest. I thought so too. But this is the truth. And we can't ignore it. That night I didn't sleep. My mind kept replaying conversations, small details. Things I had brushed aside. Thaddeus getting angry whenever I asked about money. Changing the subject when I mentioned retirement. Leaving the house nervous every Tuesday. Coming home tense. Drinking too much bourbon. The signs had been there. I just hadn't wanted to see them. The next morning, Zadai showed up again, upset and shaking. Mama, we can't do this, she said. We can't ruin Daddy's name. We can't sue banks. We can't tell people he did these things. Zodie, I said gently. I am not taking on almost $500,000 of debt to protect a lie. But he loved you, she cried. He also stole from me, I said softly. Both can be true. She left crying, slamming the door behind her. Langston called an hour later. Mama, please be patient with her, he said. She'll understand, but I wasn't so sure. The lawyer attorney Althea Dubois met with me the following Monday. Her office was modern, bright, overlooking the city skyline. She was focused, sharp, and didn't waste words. I told her everything, every document. Every forgery, every loan, every lie when I finished. She leaned back and said, "Mrs. Vance, this is one of the worst cases of spousal financial abuse I've seen." The word abuse hung in the air. She continued, "Your husband deliberately destroyed your financial security. This wasn't an accident. It was fraud. But he's gone," I said. "What can I even do now?" "You fight," she said. "We prove you weren't involved. We challenge the debts. We try to save your house. We clear your credit." Then she paused. "But it will be a long battle. At least 6 months, possibly a year or more. And it will be expensive." "How much?" I asked. $30,000 to begin. Total could reach $445,000. I stared at her, stunned. I had barely $1,200 left. Seeing my expression, she softened. "I can start with $5,000, she said. "We'll make a payment plan for the rest. This is a case you must win." The son who stepped in that night, I told Langston everything. He was quiet for a long time. "Mama," he finally said, "I have about $15,000 saved. It was for our home renovation, but that can wait. I'm helping you. I can't take your money." I said, double quotes, "Yes, you can," he said firmly. "Pop did this to you. To us, I'm helping." "That's final. For the first time since Thaddeus died," I cried. "Not from grief. From gratitude." Zadai, however, sent me only a cold email. "Mama, I need space. I can't handle what you're doing to Daddy's memory." Langston said she needed time. I hoped he was right. The investigation at Du Bois worked quickly. She contacted credit bureaus and banks, filed disputes, gathered evidence. We hired a retired FBI handwriting analyst. He compared my real signatures to the forged ones. "Mrs. Vance," he said, "these signatures aren't yours. Someone practiced copying you. Someone who knew your writing well." That someone was my husband. Langston created spreadsheets, timelines, summaries. He became my right hand through all of it. One night, he said quietly, "Mama, Pop once asked me for $50,000 3 years ago. Said it was a guaranteed investment. I almost gave it to him." Karen stopped me. His voice broke. I think he was already drowning back then. Small steps forward. 3 months after Thaddeus died. To credit card companies erased $23,000 in fraudulent debt. It wasn't much, but it was a start. But my daughter still wouldn't speak to me. It felt like losing her and my husband in the same year. The bank loans on the house were more difficult. Their lawyer tried to argue that because I was his wife, I benefited from the loans, but my attorney fought back. She argued everything, every dollar, every forgery, every hidden account. "We'll likely have to go to court," she told me. "And I think we can win. But I can't promise anything." The hearing was set for September, 6 months after Thaddeus's death, starting over at 60 while waiting for the hearing. I did something I never expected. I went job hunting. At 60 years old. With years spent as a homemaker and English teacher, finding work was not easy. I applied everywhere. Finally, a language school in Germantown called me for an interview. The owner, a woman in her 70s with white hair and bright red glasses, looked at my thin resume. "Well, Mrs. Vance," she said, "why do you want to return to work?" I could have lied, but I was tired of lies. "My husband died 4 months ago," I said. "After he died, I learned he stole my identity, forged my signature, opened credit cards in my name, and destroyed our finances. I need a job because I'm fighting to keep my house." She put the resume down, looked at me for a long moment, and then smiled. "When can you start?" And just like that, I started 3 days a week. The pay wasn't much, but it gave me something far more valuable, a reason to wake up. I even made a friend. Her name was Ida May. And one day she shared her own story about leaving a dishonest husband. Her words stayed with me. "The people who tell you to try harder are usually the ones who never had to make impossible choices." And she was right. I wasn't destroying my life. I was saving it.